Hey, it's momokeen. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the speed paint of my 2020 bullet journal cover spread. I just moved into a Scribbles That Matter 160 GSM notebook for this year, which has worked out really well for the copious amount of water and gouache paint that you're about to see me use in the creation of this spread. Gouache paint, for those of you who don't know, it's an opaque watercolor. The 160 GSM paper in this notebook did a really good job holding all of that without bleeding through. I did manage to bleed through the crack in between the two signatures that's down the center of the book, and you'll see me flip through the notebook and notice that because it's right in the middle of my index, but other than that there were no issues. My previous bullet journal was a disc-bound notebook that I just added some dot grid pages to that were 100 GSM, and they did not take to wet media so well. I ended up bleeding through a number of spreads, so I kind of stopped using watercolors or watercolor pencils and just opted for markers and things that wouldn't bleed. I also just really quickly want to apologize in advance for the quality of the voiceover. I'm literally doing this on a headset because I don't have any better microphone options, so sorry about that. So for 2020, I wanted to go for a retrofuturist theme. Think, really old sci-fi posters and pulp fiction novels, like covers of Amazing Stories or Weird Tales. Mostly because retrofuturism as an art style or as a movement or whatever, it really intrigues me. I think it's kind of fun to look at yesterday's tomorrow and see just how different things are from what people had dreamt of, and also how close, like almost right, they sometimes got it. So I think it's just really interesting and kind of whimsical in its own way. I was born in the 80s, and being a child of the 80s, I grew up with Back to the Future, and as we all know, in Back to the Future, we were promised flying cars and time machines and at least a working hoverboard by 2015, and I mean a legitimate hoverboard that hovers over the ground, not one that has wheels. Can you tell that I'm slightly salty about this? Because I am. Like, we already have hoverboards with wheels, and they're called skateboards. Anyway, getting back to the painting. So in this picture, I decided, going off, the whole sci-fi novel cover thing, I decided that I would make a colony on, another planet or another moon or something like that. And in this colony, there are no, I don't know, they decided to go the strange and inefficient route of having giant robots transport them from one colony settlement to the next. The robot in question is momokeen. That's kind of like my personal mascot, I guess you could call it. I've been drawing her since 2003 to kind of represent myself. So I thought it was fun. She's got horns, as you can see. When I was still in college, I had made board book called I Wish, and it's about Momokeen wishing she had horns, and later she learns that you need to be careful what you wish for. Some of you might recognize the font on the bottom where it says the future as being the font used in the Rocketeer movie poster, and you would be correct. I thought that was a good font to use for that. When I was doing the sky, I was really worried that the paint was going to bleed through since I'm using so much. Or at least I'm using multiple layers, because the really dark kind of blackish, it wasn't pure black, but the blackish wasn't really working out in the beginning. So I did add some like dark blue and purple, and also light blue. So I'm pretty impressed with how well this paper held up so far. Yeah, there's the crap in the index. I decided to justify my giant robots by making a giant ravine in the middle of the planet there, so that the momokeen robots would have to transport the ships for, reasons. Sometimes science fiction just doesn't really have logic. It's okay. Don't hate me. We also have two young people up here, just kind of watching on, a hilltop. I'm starting to color in the little colony domes. And there's our transportation tube guy thing.
This is the future.
I kind of imagine this system working like the bank teller window, where you put the money or your driver's license in that little capsule and it gets sucked up the chute. Only here you're being sucked into a giant robot. Because why not?
This is the future. Evolution.
So I'm starting to make a silhouette of the little city inside the dome. And those shapes there, they're supposed to be like a weird transistor or something. I had seen them in another Amazing Stories cover or something. And since we're on an alien planet, I threw in some alien creatures, and they are flying manta rays. I happen to really like manta rays, and I thought, why not?
This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future.
I decided to color the spacesuits green because, well, I had seen a lot of covers with green spacesuits, but I also decided to do green because I figured that should be like a reminder of Earth, since we're so far from home. So you're gonna notice as I'm lettering these letters that I am not the neatest painter at all. I am not the best painter. I am not the neatest. My hands shake a lot, and so these rail thin letters were really difficult for me to get straight. But I just let it go, man. I'm the only one that's really going to be, dealing with this on a daily basis, so I don't really give a... A large part of my bullet journal experience has been letting go of my perfectionism dealing with my art. I had actually stopped making art for a number of years, and I really found bullet journaling to be helpful because it's just something small that I can do every day that's creative. I will admit that I don't normally, or I hadn't normally gone for something quite as ambitious as this. As I did mention, the paper was not up to the task, so I was a little bit nervous about how this was gonna come out, to be honest. Not to mention, it's already mid-January and I'm only now just posting my 2020 and January spreads. Trying to find the time to record and now to record voiceovers. I do have a toddler, so trying to find quiet time and place is usually not super easy. And not to mention, I haven't made a video since like 2008 or something. And when I was making videos, I was using Windows Movie Maker, and I'm not anymore. I think I'm adding silver paint right now. I like shiny things. Having shiny stars makes me happy. And here I am putting Welcome To back into the page since I painted over it. That is, what is that? A white Uniball Signo pen, I think. And here I am just taking like a champagne gold watercolor and just going over the future just so it's shiny, because again, I like shiny things. And I'm going over the Welcome To with this silver paint. Alright, so this is where I'm starting to ink my drawing, and I am not the best inker. Again, my hands shake a lot, and so my line art is usually super messy, and I think the gouache paint really made like a gritty, kind of dusty texture. Not that it was coming up, like if you touch it, it wasn't coming up, but it seemed to just kind of clog up the felt tip or whatever on the markers that I was using. So every time you see me stop, like I'm trying to draw on a blank sheet of regular paper just to kind of get the grit and stuff off of the tip so it will, you know, produce ink like it's freaking supposed to. Momokeen has very big teeth. Once when I was in college, my friend had told me that he likes my teeth because they're all big and stuff. And I was like, thank you? I'm pretty sure he was high when he said that. I decided to make her eyes like dials. Well, it was my husband's suggestion. Just adding some craters into the surface. Look at that shine on that paint. Yes. And that is it. I hope you guys found that entertaining. See you around. Thanks for watching.